you guys, welcome so much. This is Benson Juarez from Privy. Some of you I haven't seen for a long time, but I'm really excited to have you guys on tonight because this is one of our first trainings of 2021. And I am so happy to have Sean here with, what's the name of your organization, Sean?
SeanYoungCoaches.com.
Sean Young Coaches. And there was, Adventures in Wholesaling as well. That's the one that was escaping
Indeed,
me. But
Adventures in Wholesaling.
Sean Young is he's an expert wholesaler. He's based out of Atlanta. Him and I have been collaborating now for several months. And the way we got started talking is he learned about Privy from somebody and he was maybe thinking about using it for comping, right, Sean?
That's
and
correct.
We went back and forth. I don't know how many times about, whether or not you thought it would be useful for wholesaling. And here we are, right? Working together,
Absolutely.
educating together. So tell us a little bit about that experience, when you learned about Privy and how we got here.
Sure, absolutely, Benson. And thanks, guys, for tuning in with us this evening or wherever wherever you guys are at. Thanks for tuning in. But just like Benson said, it took at least, two or three, I'd say maybe 3 or 4 touches of Benson actually, pitching the idea of utilizing his tool because there's some other tools out there that I had kind of wrapped my head around, and I figured, hey, this is the industry standard. So, I should be very cautious when trying to pull away from that, to do my own thing. But Benson was very, very persistent with showing me the great value inside of Privy, and being patient with me to understand that it was almost like an untraining of my mind, so to speak, because I had one particular way that I foresaw utilizing a tool such as Privy, but Benson showed me that it's much more valuable than what I even imagined. So, guys, here I am to help Benson. Definitely show you guys that value as well, so you can get the value that I've gotten as well.
Yeah, it's great because Sean, he comes from that old school way of doing wholesaling, right? It's all about marketing and it's about chasing leads and chasing down motivated sellers, right? Motivated, the ones that don't want to talk to you,
quote unquote,
right? and spending money on expensive mailing campaigns, and a lot of that stuff works, right? But I don't think that a lot of people that get into this business realize what real estate investing entails, whether you decide to go down the wholesale route or you want to start off with fix and flip or you want to build a portfolio of rentals. But if you do go down the route that Sean started at, you get thrown into the mix where you're trying to learn the business, right? Real estate investing. So you have to learn ARV and how to calculate your maximum allowable offer and all the things that go with real estate. And then you realize, oh my gosh, now I also have to be a professional salesperson. I have to create scripts and marketing campaigns and learn how to be a professional marketer. And it's really overwhelming. And this is the reason why over 90% of people that start in this business fail, is because it is just way too much. And also too, think about learning to do all of that at the same time they're running their life, going to work and hanging out with the family and the kids. And I mean, Sean, you've got kids, right? You were just texting your son before we get on here. Like, what was it like doing this business and also having a family?
Guys, it's a hard act to juggle, so to speak. But what you guys have to do is find your why. And I always say that's even one of the chapters in my book, Adventures in Wholesaling. Let me show you how, is understanding your why. Your why is going to be the driving factor and the driving force that drives you in those hard moments and those dark times when you're by yourself and the family's at watching the favorite show on TV, and you want to join them, but you're like, hey, you know what, this is my free time that I have for myself to change my life. And a choice has to be made. It's a sacrifice, guys. You have to measure the sacrifice and know that there is a reward for that sacrifice. So it's definitely something that's doable, but it's something that you should definitely prepare yourself and even your family for. And one key factor with that, Benson, you said something on one of our last webinars, which is the runway for this industry or for our business is about 3 to 4 months.
Right.
So guys, you want to have this conversation with your family, prepare them, say, hey guys, we're in different times as a nation and as a world right now. So dad or mom is going to be doing something a little different here for the next 3 or 4 months to prepare us to have a stable spot in our future, in our coming future.
I love it. You're right. That timeline is so crucial. And if you're doing things the old fashioned way, that 3 to 4 month period won't be enough. And the reason why we pick that is because there is definitely an investment into this business, right? It's your time investment. It is money. It's personnel. It's opportunity cost as well, right? Opportunity cost is an investment. Like you put it into something means you're not spending time doing something else, which is maybe spending
Right.
time with the family or handling other responsibilities in your life. So if you decide to go into this, you really should figure out a way to basically duplicate your efforts and automate a lot of the processes and figuring out ways to get things to happen behind the scenes for you. And so one of the things that when we first designed Privy is I wanted it to be automated. I wanted it to be a tool that anybody could use to really work the system, do a lot of those tedious tasks that you have to do every day to find deals, analyze them, make sure that they match your deal criteria, make sure they match your business model. Do they work in your specific market, or do you have to try to do something in another market? I was, chatting with Janice earlier. She's here in Colorado, where I'm at, and it is a challenging market. I tell you what, but they're all over the place. And
Mhm.
it's better to find out that you're in a challenging market before you go and blow a bunch of time and money into it.
Absolutely.
Right, Sean? So we can use the data to figure out where these hot areas are at and make sure that you're not spending time in an area you shouldn't be.
Mhm.
Now, one of the ways that we do that is through leveraging what we call investor activity. So investor activity are deals that other investors have already done. And it's not just to give you, um, you know, there's multi reasons why to do it. And the most important reason is to make sure you're emulating success. You can learn a lot from what other investors are doing. And in the past, really all you would be able to do is go to the local RIA, right? And a local RIA is great because you can do some networking and you can, find service providers and, you learn stuff at these things. There's a lot of valuable speakers. But at the same time, you want to be able to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with the kind of people that are having success. But it would be kind of piecemeal. But with data and automation and algorithms, you're basically able to see all the transactions in your market. And I believe there's a gap between all the theoretical education that's out there, the books and the podcasts and the gurus and all the stuff that you're used to, and the education you get from doing, like going through and doing your first fix and flip, making mistakes, going in and actually, you know, knocking down walls and all the things that you learn from. But again, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into that. So you can actually learn by seeing other deals that are being done. I'm going to show you how you can do that in a second. And that's the market intelligence. This is you seeing what's happening on the ground and then putting in place an automation tool that can help you extract that information with valuable analytics around it, like what people are buying properties for, what they're selling them for. Having an algorithm basically comps all the properties out for you automatically. And then the third piece here in our kind of our pillars to success is to make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. So I talked about, emulating others, right? Maybe you got a mentor or a coach, somebody who can teach you the ropes. Sean is, he teaches people how to wholesale. Like he's been there, he's been through it. He knows exactly which paths not to go down to, which ones to go down. And talk about contractors, investor focused agents. The more time you spend on building a good team, the heartache it's going to save you down the road because a lot of those relationships will go sideways, even if you've done a really good job. So make sure you spend some time on that.
Mhm.
So when we designed Privy, the goal was to number one, get you access to the best data. If you cannot get an accurate after repair value, then all the numbers you have leading up to an offer are going to be wrong. So, Sean, when you first started, how were you actually determining value? Like, what was the process for you saying, okay, this is what a property's worth?
Well, there's at first when I very first got started, guys, I was literally kind of shooting in the dark using some of the free resources we got out there like Zillow or Redfin, and I was using the Zestimates of that property and literally just using my formula, which was that number that they're saying is the value of that property, times 70% minus repairs minus my fee, the traditional formula. That's exactly what I was doing. Then I graduated into using some paid tools and services, that would allow you to, get comps as well. But, even those paid services, you kind of had to pull and put things together to ensure that you were getting a good, solid comp for that property.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Like, again, this is part of, what we want to show you guys tonight is there's a better way to do it. The old fashioned way is not going to cut it in 2021 moving forward. You really have to step up your game and figure out a way to layer in technology into what you do every day, especially if you've got a lot of things going on. Like, you need to have a way to duplicate yourself and your efforts so you can spend your time on money making activities, not sitting behind a computer running comparables, right? And for some of you, I mean, those comparables will be getting from sources that don't even have the best data. So maybe you're looking on Zillow or some other places. And you guys, those sites are created for consumers who are buying a house to live in. It's just supposed to get them excited so they can look around. It's kind of like a game. They don't show you all of the comparables. They show you houses or other properties that aren't even comparable. Like, they'll show, a condo that's for sale, and they'll show you a single family detached as a comp, right? I think it
Exactly.
says similar houses
Similar houses, yeah,
in the
houses.
area, right?
Exactly.
Which is completely useless. So just think about what that could do to your numbers, right? If you're off just 5% on your after repair value in either direction, that literally can make the difference between you making and losing money, right? You don't ever want to be the one and done story, right? You got in, you went all heads in, you got a loan, you borrowed from your family, you got everybody convinced you're going to do it, and then you made the wrong offer. You went for the wrong deal, and now it's done, right? And so I don't want that to happen to any of you. And maybe some of you have those kinds of stories, and it doesn't mean you can't get past it, but I just want you to know there's a better way of doing it. When you leverage the data, it takes so much of the guesswork out of it. You can really understand what's happening on the ground, and it makes it so much easier. Now,
Absolutely.
Sean, one of the major things that we talked about when we first were discussing, it does even make sense for us to work together, is that, I was saying, okay, listen, there's different ways to find deals. There's on market, there's off market. And, we had a fundamental disagreement on where these things could be found. Right. And I said, okay, I think there's opportunities on market. And you're like, no, once it hits the MLS, it's retail, right? Whatever retail means. And what did we come up with?
I mean, literally, I literally fought you on that. Seriously, I was like, how is this like? What do you mean? Like, we're gonna find an on-market deal? So isn't that like a deal for everyone else that's out there, like on the MLS looking for on-market deals? Like, how do I find the deal in that? And then that's when you actually showed me, well, are these people seeing that these are truly deals based upon data? Or are they just looking at these opportunities and say, you know what, just from a scan that doesn't meet my buying criteria, on to the next one. But when they actually
Right.
looked at the numbers and saw what they could actually do based upon the data, then that was a different thing. And that's where you kind of reel me back in and say, hold on there, come on back. Let me show you why.
Right.
And that's where that data came in place.
Yeah, and like a lot of there's pros and cons of both sides, right? And I believe that every good real estate investor should have multiple sources of deal flow. Like, you never want to have all your eggs in one basket, because there's always ebbs and flows, right? And so when something's right and it's great, like you're good, you're hustling and things are nice. But when they crash, sometimes they go down fast. And if you're not prepared for that, then you have a lull in your business where no money's coming in, but you still got the bills, right? So you want to create consistent deal flow, and you want it staggered. So you have multiple things, multiple lines in the wire at any given time. So you're getting them from all directions. So some of the pros of off market leads is, there's potentially less competition. You can talk directly to the seller and potentially put together some sort of a creative deal structure that's a win-win for everyone, and actually help some of these people out, right? Distressed seller situations means they're in trouble, right? But if you approach that situation from a position of, I'm going to help these people, you'll actually help people, and it works and it feels great. And that doesn't mean that you're taking advantage of them either, if you're able to get a deal out of that. So you can work a win-win. Some of the pro or the cons of this is it can be really expensive, especially if you're doing mailing campaigns and you're spending money on postage and the postcards and people, mailing it out for you. Um, if you're buying lists and you are actually are hiring, VAs to call for you, there's a lot of costs involved potentially with this. Um, I mentioned earlier about, you're a professional salesperson and you're a marketer, but don't forget, you also become Dog the Bounty Hunter because now you're chasing people around, you're skip tracing, you're a private investigator now too, because you have to chase these people down. And it's all about the follow-up. So Sean, this is one of the things we talked about where a lot of people get in this business, they might actually have some good systems, they might have a good process, but they don't have the follow-up because their life is happening, right? So if their marketing's working and they can't answer, like what happens?
That someone else is going to answer it. That's what's going to happen.
Right. So I don't know how many times I've heard this where people are like, okay, I put bandit signs out, I spent all kinds of money on marketing, and then they're calling when I'm at work and I can't pick up. I call back when I get off and I can't reach them. And I call them back, call them back, call them back. The follow-up is where 90% of all of the deals come from in off market. So you have to have an efficient way of tracking your leads, making sure you've got a good follow-up system that has task management and also allows you to get to all those touches, right? Sean talked about how persistent I was with him. It's even more difficult when you're working with motivated sellers because they don't want to talk to you, right? They've gotten their head in the sand. Plus, you're one of 50 other people that are trying to reach them, right? The first thing I said was potentially less competition. Well, what are these lists we're talking about? Foreclosures, bankruptcies, divorces, absentee owners, all of these sort of things that can be useful. If you've got that list, everybody else has got that list, right? And so Sean, like if there's, 100 different postcards on their kitchen table, like how do they know to call you?
Yeah, do they just flip through the card and then wherever it stops, okay, we'll pull that one out. That's who we're calling. I mean, that's almost kind of what you're hoping for at that point, right? I mean, what else is going to make your card stand out? Is it going to talk to them? I mean, what is it? So, I mean, you guys got to think about that. And, I want to speak on something that Vincent said, which is really about this particular method or style of going after deals. Because when you look at on market deals, the thing that I kind of couldn't grasp at first, like I'm like, so are we wholesaling at that point? If we're getting deals on market, are we still wholesaling? And guys, yes, you still wholesale the deals. If you've seen the past webinars, I mean, you would definitely see that. And if not, I'm sure Benson's going to explain clearly how you still, it's still considered a wholesale transaction, but I would consider it wholesaling 2.0 or wholesaling for the 21st century. I mean, this is the new way of doing business, guys. Not saying that you can't do it the old way, because I've built an entire business around that. But I'm telling you guys, based on the power that I see with Privy and the new understanding, I've incorporated this into my business and I've reshifted. I spent all last month really reshifting my entire organization to be aligned with what we're talking about right now, which is the new way of doing things. You guys, you don't want to catch yourself caught in the middle of the year or towards the end of the year where you've spent all this money on bandit signs, marketing, postcards, only to find that, what, I should have probably listened to Benson and Sean on that webinar and went the route that was driven by data and technology. So, yeah.
Yeah. And also too, what is worth saying is we're not saying the other way doesn't work because by
Absolutely.
the way, we are going to be launching Privy nationwide in the next couple of months. So we're going to be all over the US. What you see on the map here is the markets we're currently doing business in. So it's currently 20 different states. I thought I saw a question about that earlier. So here are the markets we're in. But we're going to be nationwide here. So within 60 to 90 days, this whole thing's going to be lit up. And one of the cool, exciting things about it is, as much right now tonight as we're talking about doing on-market deals, we're also going to be layering in all the off-market data as well, because I do believe that every good investor should have multiple sources of deal flow. So you want all kinds of different tools in your toolbox so that no matter what deal is presented to you, you've got a bucket for it. You've got something you can do with it. So starting when we launch that nationwide, it's going to be indexed and searchable off-market database where you can search for foreclosures, REOs, short sales, liens, bankruptcies, divorces, vacancies, absentee owners, and in a stacked method where you can not just have a single list, but you can say, show me everybody that's in foreclosure in 80234 and has an absentee owner, right? So you can see how powerful those searches are going to be. But where that really starts to elevate itself is that whenever those properties pop up, they come up to you in our live comparative market analysis, which I'm going to show you a second, which is basically a evaluation of the property with comparables and showing you all the investor activity in the area so you can quickly determine what the potential after repair value for that property is using the best data available, hands down. So earlier I was talking about market intelligence, investor activity. Well, what really is that? Well, those are deals that are being done by other investors. So we're able to search for those. So I just created a search looking for any property that was renovated in the last 12 months and increased in value at least 30%. Okay. So this is a heat map. Red is the hottest areas, blue is the coldest, and these areas in between, like Kansas City, we're not there yet, but we will be. So keep an eye out for as we release those markets. But I'm going to zoom in one other notch here, and I'm going to show you that there are certain areas that are way better than others. So I would talk to you about Denver. Now, if you just saw Denver by itself, you might think, okay, 524 deals. That's pretty good, right? Well, relative to other markets, it's not. Look at this. 2,200 deals in Chicago. Indianapolis is approaching, about 1,000. Minneapolis, St. Paul, for the size of those two big cities, is not the greatest place to be putting your resources right now. When you look at some of the other markets, Atlanta is actually kind of right in the middle. There's some opportunities there, and I think we're going to look at that market a little bit closer in a bit. Dallas Fort Worth is decent. Look at Central Florida. Look at how much activity there is down there. And so what I would suggest to you is that instead of just choosing a market based off of convenience, where you live or where you work, or familiarity, like where you grew up, like, oh, I grew up in Chicago, so I'm going to look for deals there. Or, I went to school in, I don't know, Austin, so I'm going to look for deals there. Base it off the data. Okay. Always know that you no longer are limited by your geographical boundaries. We've got users from all over the world that are using Privy to invest in the US, and they may never set foot here, right? Think about that for a moment. People who are doing deals, making money here, doing stuff virtually, right from behind their computer, will never set foot in the US and are making money by leveraging data. But the key is taking action, right? So let's take a look at a couple of these markets.
Guys, I've got a coaching student in Israel doing deals here in America, so it can be done from anywhere in the world.
I would love to meet that person, by the way. We have users in Israel. I've got several that are doing deals here. So look at Atlanta, right? So we're shooting in the Atlanta area, and I'm picking this out because I know we've got some people here, and obviously Sean's out there in Atlanta. So looking at the map, you can see there's some hot areas kind of around the city center, right? So 71, 84, 117, 90. And the average investor who's doing deals, who maybe lives in Palmetto down here, right off the 85, with our limited bandwidth and limited time we have as investors, when we're going to spend time on our business, and if we're doing anything that involves travel, it happens right around us, right? Think about if you've ever driven for dollars. Well, you go where you live, right? You go to maybe down the path to what you're familiar with, the path to work, or the path to, the gym or to church or whatever it might be. That's where people do it. But if you live in Palmetto, you absolutely should not be looking for deals there. Now, it doesn't mean you couldn't stumble upon something there. You might. But what I'm talking about is opportunity cost. Every minute you spend here in Palmetto is a minute you can't spend up here in a hot area. And where that even gets more valuable and more important is, I talked about after repair value. After repair value is the number that drives everything in this business. And if you have a philosophy of working off of that and making sure that you're in an area where you can prove ARV, because no matter what your exit strategy is, fix and flip, wholesale, buy and hold, there's always going to be someone at the end of the rainbow who's going to look to see if that thing is what it should be worth, either an appraisal, but if you're doing buy and hold, maybe at some time you're going to refinance it. If you're a wholesale, like your end buyer, they're thinking, okay, there's going to be an appraisal. Are there good fix and flip deals in that market? And if they're not, you're wasting your time. You're absolutely wasting your time. And for the wholesalers out there, I mean, actually, I'll just ask Sean. So reputation, right? Like if you have a deal that you force, right, and you get it under contract, and then you put it out to your network, like what's the consequence of that?
Guys, there's two different things that happens here. The first thing is that when you get a deal under contract and you're not able to execute on that deal, meaning you're not able to sell your contract to one of your cash buyers because you've just, like you said, you've stumbled upon a deal and you say, hey, I'm going to try to make this work and I'm going to force this the best way that I can. Two things happens. Your seller, your motivated seller now becomes distressed with you because you've promised or said you're going to help do something that now that you have no way of able to do that because you didn't realize that, hey, this house is in an area where the last house that's been sold was 5 years ago, and it's 5 miles in any direction for the next house. I mean, these are things that you have to consider because your reputation now with your seller is on the line, as well as you trying to pass that deal on to cash buyers. Even say you built a list of cash buyers, you've got 1,000, 200 to 1,000, however many you've got on your list. You're sharing this with them, like, hey, I've got a hot deal, and they're like, hey, this isn't what I'm looking for, and so now they're looking at you kind of crazy, like, man, does Jimmy know how to evaluate properties? He's asking 95 for this property, but we see clearly that it's only worth 50. But since Jimmy got it under contract for 85,000, he has no choice but to try to offer it for 95. So guys, what Benson is saying is crucial about this data. And trust me, guys, I've been in this business for quite some time. Data is king.
It is. And your reputation sometimes is more valuable than money. You only got one chance at it. And, there's second chances, right? And you can redeem yourself. But why even go down that path? Why even chance it? Don't force a deal that you are not 100% confident with. If you're not confident with your numbers, if you're not sure about ARV, if you're not sure about your maximum allowable offer, ask for help. Talk to the people around you. Ask Sean. Ask me. Like we've been doing this business long enough to know that there are certain things that support value. Like there's certain criteria when you're looking at comparables, like, square footage within a certain percentage, plus or minus, 15 to 20. You don't want to compare a ranch to a 2-story. You want to stay within a half a mile if you can, depending upon if it's rural or if it's in, in the city. There's lots of things here. Now, what I'm going to show you in a second is that we've baked a lot of that comping philosophy into the algorithms that comp our properties out. What's cool about it too is that you don't have to memorize that. Like it's all automated and it happens 24/7 and it's updated. So I want to show you one of these houses here. So here are the homes that have been fixed and flipped in this area. And what I did is I zeroed in on that area that was one of the hottest in Atlanta. So you can actually see which neighborhoods the deals are being done in. So even within this hot area, if you are thinking, like, well, maybe I'll put some bandit signs in Winona Park. Well, I would say opportunity cost wise, comparing apples to apples, same amount of time, you're going to want to put them down here. Excuse me. And if I'm doing a mailing campaign, right, I want to look in 30317, 3032, 303, 30035. Like this is a way for you to actually filter and make sure your marketing efforts are more targeted than just using a list that you got and just starting from the top and going down, right? Maybe you have another way of filtering it based off of area or price, but again, it would be gut instinct or some other way of you identifying that. Base it off the data. If you have a targeted approach and if you can find a motivated seller in these areas from some list you're working while you're cold calling, the chances of you being able to actually talk to them in an educated manner and communicate real value to them because this data is in front of you is going to be much larger, and it's so valuable. Then if you're able to lock these properties up, well, there are properties in the area that have been fixed and flipped, which makes it way easier for you to have a profit. So I'm going to show you an analogy here. in a moment, but I want to show you this first. So this is the live comparative market analysis. This is a report that's generated with our system and our comping algorithm that shows you the property details. It shows you the house on the map with the comparables, the rental data. Also, rental data is something new we added within the last few months. So if you're doing rentals or you're building a portfolio. Also, we've got the before and after here. So for some of you who are newer, or for some of you who are busy doing a lot of deals and maybe you're looking at another market, the best way to learn what's happening on the market is to look at the deals that are closing, right? So this one here was basically flagged in Privy back in December as a deal. And if you had been a Privy user at that point and you had been targeting this area, our system would have sent you an email notifying you that this is a property you should be looking at. So this is what it looked like before they fixed it up, right? And when I look at this, I mean, Sean, this house isn't bad, right? Like it's in decent shape.
Mm-hmm.
And they got granite here, and it's just old. Like you got mismatched appliances, and
just outdated.
Yeah, and so they bought it for $302,000, but somebody had a vision, right? Look what I did to it on the right over here. I mean, this just looks absolutely fantastic. It looks like a brand new house to me. Absolutely. They sold it for $561,000. It took them, over a year to do the whole project, which is a little too long, and we don't know why that reason is. But now you can see exactly what kind of
COVID last year. Could be a number of factors at why that did.
Well, so I forget so soon, right? Like we're already in 2021, and I'm like, COVID? What are you talking about? But it's true. There's a lot of reasons why. But look at this here. So you now know that, like, okay, this is a house I would have to spend money on staging, right? This is what they're expecting in a house at this price. You can see what kind of construction they did. You get design ideas. You can understand what level is appropriate for the neighborhood. Can you get away with like a rental grade rehab and just, like this one over here, and just paint the cabinets and keep the countertops and just clean it up? Well, clearly there's more room here, right? And what better way to know that than to see that the person down the street just did it. 26 days on market. Now, as a wholesaler, and let's say you decided to target this area. Well, now if you can find a property in this area, you've got the before and after data of the homes in the area that you can use to support your notion of what that after repair value is, and support it with real evidence, and not just a number you put on a spreadsheet. You're actually showing them the house with the before and after pictures and timelines and a lot of other supporting data that will help that buyer come to a conclusion that your deal is something they want. If you can connect the dots in their mind and make it easier for them by doing some of their due diligence for them, taking some of the guesswork out of it for them, and basically creating a straight line from a no to a yes, that's a win-win. And the reason why you have these kinds of properties is because we did a layer approach and we started off with solds. So if you can get into a philosophy where you don't want to be lead driven, where you're just chasing that shiny thing in front of your face and going after leads, but learning the market on the local level, looking at investor activity, targeting high investor activity areas so you can find the hot areas, and then being able to find properties like this that were renovated that you can use to prove ARV. Now, a lot of other cool things happens when you look at this thing, right? So this thing just closed yesterday, right? This gives you an example of how accurate and up to date our data is. 561,000. Well, if you're going to wholesale in a market, well, there's acquisition, which is getting the property, right? That's one of the problems. But then there's disposition. And we talked about, grand buyers, but how do you build those? Where do you find buyers at? Well, how about the guy that just flipped the house, right? This person here is a buyer. And you might be thinking, okay, well, the wheels are turning. Well, because we added the public record data, it's already populating in our CMAs. And the guy that just flipped this, or gal, is TRI C Investors LLC. So what better way to build a solid, more strategic buyers list than to look at the people that are selling the houses in the neighborhood you're targeting? So the neighborhood, right? And there's this term called buy box. If you haven't heard it, incorporate it into your lingo and the way you speak about the business, because it'll make you seem smarter than you are. I learned it just recently. So the buy box. The buy box is basically the buyer's criteria, right? And it actually comes down from like institutional buyers, like hedge funds. They use that term a lot. So it's like, okay, what are the check boxes that they have for a property that would make them interested in it? Well, for this company right here, we know that they're in this particular zip code. We know what neighborhood they're in. We know what kinds of properties they're interested in looking at, right? This is an example. Bedrooms, bathrooms, we can see, their price range. They're willing to spend over $300,000, right? That's actually a little high for most buyers. Most buyers want to stay on the lower end. And it's all because we saw the public record data. So starting when we launch nationwide and launching the new data set, this is all going to be searched and indexed and searchable. So you'll be able to say, show me every cash buyer in a specific zip code. But even going that route, you would just have a list. If you do this, the way I'm showing you now, you're able to build that buy box for them. And now Tri-C investors, and again, I don't know if this is going to be, I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, let's see what happens, guys.
So Tri-C investors, they're out of North Carolina. Okay. All I did was just Google it. I'm going to click this link and we've got.
Actually, if you back up, Benson, I saw one that was in Atlanta, right below that. If you go right there, that could be the one. Yep, that could be one.
Okay. Awesome. So what you're seeing here, you guys, is a way for you to basically look for and find these cash buyers, what they call them. And honestly, I would take the cash word out of your vocabulary. It doesn't really how they pay. It doesn't matter how they pay for it. If they're willing to buy a property from you, whether they're using cash, private money, hard money, or conventional loan, it shouldn't matter. All they need is the resources to buy it, right? So that cash buyers term is kind of archaic. It doesn't mean anything anymore. You want buyers that have resources.
You want me to be able to execute on that close, whether they're getting it from a genie or for they're pulling it from under their mattress. So yeah, that term cash buyers, I understand you 100% there, Vince, and I agree as well.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not even in the world as much as you are. I'm sure you hear that every single day. It's just been like indoctrinated into the wholesaling world, all the way, from the gurus forward. That's just what they hear. But honestly, it doesn't have to be cash. They got the resources. They've got the ability to fund that deal. You want them on your list.
What we're really saying there, guys, is we're not looking for folks who are looking to buy their first home necessarily, who are going to go look to get a traditional 30-year home loan. And this is their first time at it. And that's not what this is for. That's what we're really saying there.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And that's part of the stuff that Sean has learned over years of doing this business. But on the map here, you see these deals, right? So you're thinking, okay, this is all great. I'm doing my research. What's next? Well, number one, the automation, right? You make sure if you choose a market to target and it's virtual, or even if it's your own backyard, make sure you're studying these properties, you guys. This is the best education you can get. All the theory and all of the stuff you get from the books and the podcasts, it was not going to teach you this stuff that's happening on the ground. What to buy properties for, what to sell them for, which markets are the hottest, what kind of construction to use. All the little data points along here is going to make you a much more educated investor, which in the past, you could only learn by doing. You had to go out there and actually get into these deals and network. And that can take years to accomplish that level of understanding of a market and really understand it. But with data, you can learn it in minutes. Really, you can look at a market and see on the map what's going on, and you're going to be way more educated, informed, and prepared to write an offer on a deal when it presents itself if you take this path. I guarantee it. Now, the next thing we're going to do is be like, okay, well, are there deals here, right? So we're going to take the next step in this layered approach, which is to switch the algorithm over to active deals. And then I'm going to just put a price ceiling here. Let's say, I don't know, 250,000. I'm just picking some arbitrary numbers here. And then anything that came on the market in the past week, right? I'm choosing some most recent things. And then I'm looking for days on market, right? I want to see the newest listings first. So now Privy is going to go out and it's going to pull comparables on every single property in this area. And it's only going to show us homes that match our deal criteria. So here's actually some properties that are available today that we can write offers on. So if you're looking for deals, even if you're not in Atlanta, it's okay. We got boots on the ground. Sean's there. Here's a property right here. So this one's $100,000. It's 347 Fairburn Road, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, just came on the market today. Okay. Right. We talked about looking at the most recent stuff. This one you can buy for $100,000, and there are comparables in the area at 198 and 149. Here are some other properties that are also close. This one just sold for 164,000, 169, 195. This one is only 0.15 miles down the road. And if I open that property up on Fairlane, you can see exactly what they did to it. So our property was a ranch where the garage was underneath. This is still a ranch. This one just doesn't have a garage that I can see. So our house actually potentially has another, 15 to 20,000 worth of value there because of that garage. But this one just went for 195. And now when you see this house, you know exactly what you need to do to your house on Fairburn to get to this same level of value. What kind of construction they did, what kind of design, all that stuff is here for you. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. And a lot of people who get in this business, they get in because of HGTV and all those flipper flop shows, and they're fun. But in the reality is like, this is what works, right? Like all of this specialty design and the glass tiles and the waterfalls, and that stuff is not going to make you money. This right here, what's on Fairlane, this is what's going to make you money.
That stuff is for show, guys. And not to distract from the great entertainment value of those shows, but I don't want anyone to have the wrong expectational values to think that this is how that show works is how fix and flippers' lives actually kind of look on a day-to-day basis, or the type of properties that they're trying to fix. Like Benson said, you don't have to even consider that. You can just look and see what is the standard, what's going on in that market. All right, well, I want to make sure that I'm at least around this area so that I can get these asking prices. If I want to up that a tad bit, okay, well, then I can add a tad bit more to that, but you can clearly see what you're up against by looking at pictures, not ideas or theories, or I think I know what it's like out there, or I think, no, this is what's going on today. So, yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. Oh, here's a house that looks like it's burnt. This house has fire damage of what's planned to be a corridor. So 103,000 is this property right here. And we've got comps in the area at 185, 240, 319. Remember, we're comparing apples to apples here. The algorithm is making sure that all of this, the information you're looking at, is real time. Here's another one, 179,000, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 12.6 square feet. Looking at the comps, we got a house that just sold for 317, 329. Right? These are all right in the same neighborhood. So the algorithm is comping the properties out. It's getting rid of all the properties that don't make sense. And then it's going to email you every time a deal like this is found that matches your deal criteria. And these are all over the US, you guys. I was showing you Atlanta, but watch this. I'm going to sign out real quick and sign back in. And I'm going to run this same search nationwide. Now, this is really fun. I can't wait till we're in Cleveland and St. Louis and a bunch of other areas that I'm hearing are great markets. Watch this. Show me any property that's for sale that's better than 50% of the ARV that you can buy for less than $100,000 and just came on the market. So now the Privy's going out and it's pulling comps and it's looking at the entire US and all these markets that we're currently doing business in. And here's a bunch of the properties that are available today. Right? So you can literally do deals like this all over the US. Check out this one, 69,000. It's in Indianapolis. It came on the market today. I mean, it's pretty rough, but I mean, it's a cool looking house. And we scroll down and look at the comps. We got a comp here that just sold for 240,000. Right. So we can get this 69 and you could sell it for 240, right? The houses look very similar. It doesn't have a porch, ours doesn't, but you could probably build it. So, I mean, Sean, from your experience as a wholesaler, if you can get a house for 69 grand and you got a comparable that sold for 240, there's other supporting data for, like, what kind of an assignment fee would you put on the 69 to someone who's going to sell it for 240?
Guys, well, looking at that property, excuse me, they're looking at a project probably size of a repair size, probably maybe 30, 40,000. So guys, just add that on top of what you've got that for. Then add your fee on top of that. And I can't see okay, 69,000. So we got 70. Guys, I would look to get no less than 20,000 on this for an assignment fee. And that's an easy 20,000, guys, because whoever you pass this over to, let's say you're advertising this property for 90,000. All right, so someone's got this property for 90,000. They're going to put another 40, 50,000. Let's just say they put 60,000 into that property, but then they can turn around and sell it for 240. Guys, you are a gold mine for them. They're going to want to do business with you all day long. So people are passing up on opportunities like this. Look at, did you see that when he hit that button nationwide? It's like bobbing for apples. If you can put your head in there and grab that apple and pull it up, it's there for you. I mean, it's that easy, guys. I'm not trying to overhype this, guys. I just want to make sure that you see how hyped I am about it, because this is real stuff. This is real deal.
Yeah, and they're all over the place. And if you guys decide you want to work with us, I'll show you exactly how to do this. I'm kind of bouncing through it fairly quickly, but we do live training twice a week. I'm going to show you guys tonight a bonus that you can get where it includes a one-on-one training that we'll actually go in and I'll help you set up and save all your searches. I'll make sure all your questions are answered. I'll make sure you have everything you need to be able to do this in your target market. If it's local, and you have an idea of where you want to be, and we'll look at the data. We'll say, okay, does the data actually overlap with where you want to invest? If you're in an area where you shouldn't, I'll tell you, and then I'll tell you where you should be investing, right? And that's part of what the support that we give with Privy is, that we don't just give you a tool and disappear. We provide the support as well. So let's start to finish up here, you guys. And I know there were some questions, and I apologize. Some of the questions that were in the chat before I left, I think are gone.
I've got them. I've got the questions here, so I can definitely run down the ones that we missed.
Cool. So this is all about optimization, you guys. It's all about figuring out a better way to do things, giving you a way to get full-time results in your part-time. If you continue to do things the same way, your runway is going to run out. It's just going to happen unless you get lucky and you stumble upon a deal. You need better systems, you need better data, and you need an automated way of doing it. So, but with that automated way, we're basically eliminating 95% of the work and then allowing you to focus on the most important things. So the money-making activities, right? That's submitting offers, that's doing showings, that's doing your deals, whether it's, wholesaling them or it's doing the renovation. That's where you should be spending your time, not on tedious tasks. I just skipped that before I had a moment. So, again, who's this for? Well, fix and flippers, wholesalers, buy and hold investors, all experience levels. I've got people who are trying to do 100 deals this year that are using Privy. I've got people that have never done a deal that have found their very first deal on Privy. I got people who are working toward doing their first deal, but are loving being able to basically learn the business from other investors and learning it from, the actual deals that are getting done. It's for all those kinds of people. But one of the things I want to make sure that you is committed. Right now, this is 2021. We're in the first week of 2021, and you're here for a reason, right? You're looking for answers. Maybe there's some things you're trying to figure out, or you want to get better. But this is the kind of thing that can happen for you. This is Anthony. He's a wholesaler up in Chicago. He's done 6 on-market deals with Privy, and he made anywhere from $3,000 to $15,000 on those assignment fees. Sean was saying on that last deal we just found in Indianapolis for 69 grand, he'd throw 20 grand on that thing and it would still be worth $240,000. Johnny actually found his first deal on Privy. He's up in Maryland. So I want to give you guys an opportunity to get this. And I'm going to email out a replay of this so you guys can really dig in and make sure that you're making the right decision. But I'm also going to send you a Johnny's story. So Johnny, we kind of just skip past it, but he actually did an interview with us, and I'm going to email that out to you guys tomorrow as well. Okay. So Privy, it's if you subscribe right now, you can subscribe. It's $97 a month. Even at that, I mean, it's a slam dunk deal. We just talked about a deal that's literally dangling in front of your face in Indianapolis that could make you 20 grand. And I'm not guaranteeing it. There's no guarantees in this business. These are just things that are available. You have to take action. You have to be able to follow through with the deals, make sure you're connecting all the dots, and we're going to help you do that. Sean, obviously being an expert mentor and coach, I mean, you've got a course, right? Sean, what's the course you have?
Absolutely, guys. I have got two ways. I've got an online course, a virtual course, guys, that you can get at SeanYoungCoaches.com. I also have a virtual assistant service there, guys, that can help you with some of these processes. I also have a one-on-one coaching, guys, where I sit down with you one-on-one. So head on over to SeanYoungCoaches.com. I'm here to help you guys.
Yeah, and Sean, drop the links in the chat if you don't mind, so people can
Will
get
do.
easy access to them.
And guys,
But
for everyone that's on this call, there are a lot of free giveaways that I've put out there for everyone that's on this call. So head on over there, guys. There's a lot of free giveaways for you.
right, and those are the things that you probably saw in the email when you signed up. So that list of items that I said you would get if you're attending, we're going to get you those. Okay, and this is all stuff that Sean has built with all of his experience and years of grinding and being on the ground and doing this business. That stuff is absolutely invaluable. There's scripts and videos and training, all kinds of cool stuff. I also put together some bonuses here and some discounts. So I'm going to give you some access to some of these people that are out there doing it. So like Elijah, and there are some other operators, what they call them in the industry, people that are out there operating and doing deals. And I want you to learn from what they've been able to do. The next thing is the support, right? I told you that we don't just sell you a piece of software and disappear. We are constantly creating new ways of educating, new techniques to leverage the data and use the system in an effective way that aligns with your business model, your exit strategies, your level of experience. And we do that through a few different things. So I put together this support package. It includes that one-on-one training I told you about. That's 1 hour with me. I'm going to help you set up your system, get everything lined up. But also you get to come to our weekly masterminds. So that's live training twice a week. You can bring your deals. You can bring the questions about real estate investing, about Privy, anything you want to talk about, building your team, your CRM, all the moving parts that are involved in your business. We can talk about those. And people actually do deals sometimes. I think one time, and actually I know this one closed. There was a guy in Florida who synced up with a guy in Chicago, and they did a wholesale deal right on one of our calls. So I give you this for free, and there's always ongoing support. Okay. The next thing is the master membership. So when you first sign up for Privy, you actually have to choose your home market. But again, as I realize, as we spread out nationwide, I want to give you access to everything. So you're going to get all of our current markets. And when we launch nationwide, you're going to get that for absolutely free. And what's going to come with that too is the public record data, right? So the public record data, and you lock the price in now, which I'm going to show you, you're going to get access to all those foreclosures and bankruptcies and divorces and all that stuff. It's going to be added into your master membership. And so this is exciting. I just added this today. Oakland, we just added Oakland. Right now, ones that we're going to be launching here within the next week or so: San Antonio, St. Louis, Tucson, and there's one other that's really, really close too. But we're going to be knocking down all these markets. All
Somewhere
along.
in Virginia, I know Virginia was one of those as well.
Richmond, Virginia. You're right. Central Virginia. Thanks for reminding me. And then for those of you, we've been talking a lot about wholesaling tonight, but honestly, Privy is not just for wholesalers. It's for anybody that wants to find a discounted deal. So what I've learned over the years is that the process of finding and analyzing deals is the same no matter what your exit strategy is. So you're looking for houses you can get a discount. You're trying to comp them out. You're looking at the market. You're looking to see if you can prove ARV, and then you submit the offer. But that's when those business models then diverge, right? The wholesaler now, he goes into marketing mode. She's going out and she's talking to her buyers, and she's looking at all of the things that she needs to do to connect the dots for that end buyer. The fix and flipper is getting their loan documents together. They're lining up their crews. They're ordering materials, like they're preparing for the construction. which is this right here. Right now, you do not want to learn how to do a construction project after you get a deal under contract. Now is the time to prepare yourself for that. So I'm going to give you this instruction book put together by the Rehab Depot and Ryan Garcilaso that will help you to connect those dots. This is really valuable. It takes so much of the guesswork out of it. And he's an expert in this thing. He's done hundreds of deals for himself and for his clients. And then the last piece, as far as the other exit strategies, is buy and hold, right? So there you might be doing some preparing for some kind of cleanup, maybe some minimal repairs, getting it ready to rent out. Maybe they're putting an ad in on Craigslist or some other site to get renters. But at the end of the day, leading up to that, it was all the same, right? It's about finding deals at a discount and finding the comparables to prove what that thing is going to be worth after you've done the work. That's the business, you guys. It really is. Now, whether you're doing note investing, or you're looking for tax sales, you still need a really good way of evaluating those properties. You have to run analysis. You have to run comps. You have to determine ARV. You can also filter your lead generation for notes and for tax sales and some other things by targeting those hot areas. That way, you're in an area where there's good after repair values, where the values in those neighborhoods are driven by fix and flippers, and there's better appreciation. That will guarantee you a better return on investment. So here's a summary of what I'm giving you guys tonight. So all of those bonuses, you guys, it's a huge amount of value. It's actually probably more than this, especially with this next piece I'm going to show you. But this is all going to be for $720 a year. Right now, that's if you're comparing apples to apples, it's like paying $60 a month. And I would venture you to challenge yourself and think about, $60 that you spend on things during the month that are completely useless. Going to Starbucks and eating out every single day, and all the kind of things that we spend money on that are never going to give us a return. I'm telling you that it was $60 per month. You're going to see deals like the one we just saw in Indianapolis that has a potential of a $20,000 assignment fee. Where would you rather put your money, right? Now, 30-day money back guarantee. I want everybody to feel comfortable working with us. So I give you that guarantee. Now, I talked about the additional value on top of this is the buyer's list. So Sean, I don't know how many years you've been doing this, but how important is building a solid buyer's list, and how difficult is it?
Guys, I'm going into my 6th year in this industry, and building a buyer's list is crucial to your success. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to continuously being able to add to that buyer's list. So starting off with 5,000 solid nationwide buyers is definitely going to help you jumpstart your success as well. So that you're not spending that time getting that started. Like he said, you don't want to learn how to build start a construction project as you're getting it. You want to kind of already have that going. So this gives you that same type of boost. It gets you a list of solid buyers already on your team ready to go.
Yeah. And what's cool about that list too is that it's all separated out by state. So you can basically know you're not targeting an area where there's, people aren't interested. You can say, okay, here's the list for Florida. And then it has emails, phone numbers, and it tells you what they're looking for and where specifically in Florida they're looking. Is it Sarasota? Is it Miami? Is it Tampa? Now, I know not everybody has this kind of money in their budget, but what I would suggest is figure it out. Like, this is going to be one of the biggest things that can help you really get 2021 started off on the right path. Find a business partner, figure out a way to put that in there. All of those tools and the supporting things we put there is not by accident. It's because all of the bonuses I put there will help you have greater success with the platform on the whole. The software does what it's supposed to do, but without some of the support and the help on getting started, it's going to take a little bit more time. But there's plenty of on-demand stuff there for you too. But the alternative is to get started on a monthly basis, which, if that's the best option for you, do it. I don't want you to stretch yourself too thin, dig into, your emergency fund or your kid's college. Like, leave that stuff alone. But if you're trying to decide where to invest money, this is going to be one of the best places you can put it. And on no matter which plan you choose, it's still a 30-day money back guarantee. So you guys, I'm going to have this open through Saturday night. Okay. So it's 48 hours. I'm going to email out tomorrow the replay, all of the deal details. I'm going to send you links to all of the stuff that Sean put together for you with the education and some of the tools for wholesaling. And the promo code is Privy 2021. And I know there's a lot of questions here. So I'm going to be answering some of these things for you. But I want to start to put some of these things in here for you. So Sean, like based off of what we covered tonight, like what's kind of like some final impressions, some things you think that we should leave with tonight?
Guys, some definitely things that you want to leave with is data. Data is the future. And like I said, when Benson dropped off, guys, you want to start thinking about how to operate your business in the future as well. You don't want to be a one time and done type of guy or gal out there. You want to make this an actual true business. And as you guys see from this presentation, this tool has the ability to help you scale a business because you have data that you're using versus emotions or feelings or thoughts. This is pure data, guys. And that is what helps you scale and grow your business.
It is. It's scale, grow. And one of the things I didn't count on, Sean, is what people were getting out of this was confidence. Like some of these things are more tangible. Like you see the deal flow and you see people are, submitting more offers and they're doing these things. But all that stuff was built off of the foundation of them feeling better about their numbers. And there's so much, and I'm notorious for this, you guys. So I'm not talking down to anybody. Is like the procrastination, the inaction, the uncertainty, all those things kind of paralyze us and keep us from taking action. And whether it's this business or anything in life, right? And one of the things that helps us get past all that stuff is feeling confident. And whether it's feeling confident in, a sporting activity and knowing, the reps and how to execute a play and knowing where your teammates are going to be, or it's in life and feeling confident with your family members and knowing that you guys are supporting each other and people are going to be there to catch you when you fall, right? Those things are great. In business, it's like it's knowing that your systems are there to cover you when you can't, like the automation, right? But also the numbers, right? We're talking about data here. The most important thing in this business is numbers, because this is a numbers business. We're all trying to make dollars, right? To change our future, to provide more for our families, to, help take the uncertainty out of life on, can you make it to the next paycheck? Can you take that vacation that you promised your family last year, this year? Can you give your husband, your wife, something nice for Christmas or for their birthday? Like all those kinds of things, stress us out, right? And if we can take some of that stress out of your life and make it easier, if we can help you be more confident by giving you data and numbers that will help you take action and actually pull the trigger on those deals when you see them, then I've done what I came to do. Like I've been doing this for close to 18 years now in the business, close to 10 now with Privy. And I'm at the intersection of my two passions, which is real estate and technology. And those two things working together, you guys, can change everything for you. I believe it to my core. It really can. But you have to take action and you have to believe that you can do this business. And for those of you that are already doing it, like I want to help you do more, right? I work with some serious operators and I know that there's always better ways and they're always looking for better ways. And so should you. So I put my contact information in the chat, my email, my phone number. There's a link there to schedule a time to do a demo with me. If you think you're close and you just have a couple more questions, I'm happy to do a demo with you to kind of show you how it's going to work with you and your business model. But call me in the office, shoot me an email, but take action. The links to sign up are right here. The promo code is Privy 2020. That first link here where it says register here is for the annual plan. And the second one is for the monthly. And just enter the code there. It will lower the price to the discount we offered you guys tonight. And then you're off and running. And then just get in there, do the training, come to the trainings, call me, call Sean. We have a ton of support here for you guys to help you along the way. So I'm really looking forward to working with you. Anybody that wants to take off, thanks for being here. I'm going to answer some questions now, but I'm going to go back and look at everything we've kind of been talking about. But thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to working with you. And Sean, Man, thank you so much. You're always a wealth of
Absolutely.
knowledge, and I appreciate you being here and sharing all of your
Problem.
experience with the group.
My pleasure.
With this crown on my head, I'm seated on the throne. The top is so alone. Only thing that keeps me going is I know my city love me. I know my city love me.